Hey guys, welcome to my legacy house where everything starts at home, and we are in week 5 of our Whole Warriors and our Quality Queens initiative. It's our life skills program. I'm very excited to have everyone here. We're just waiting for people to file into the chat room. Everybody is being notified right now, and our mentors are getting ready to go. Very excited to have everybody here, though. We've been rocking and rolling and really just diving into the meat and potatoes of what it means to thrive, what it means to be alive. Ooh, bars. Sort of. Hey, Veronica. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How you doing? Just making sure I got my pen ready. We've got a lot of things that have been going on. You can't hear me? Can everybody else hear me? Let me know if you can. You can't hear me, Lorenzo?
Okay, now I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Hi, Lorenzo.
Hey, Brit, how you doing?
I'm doing well. I am doing well. How was your week?
My week last week, whether you believe it or not, wasn't too bad. It was actually pretty good. It was obviously busy, but I definitely tried to get a little bit more rest last week. I think with the weather changing, it's definitely starting to flare up some allergies and,
Mm-hmm.
still trying to juggle that and as well as the day to day. But overall, it was good. No
Well,
complaints.
good. So give me a proud moment for yourself.
A proud moment for myself last week. I saw you.
How's
Let me
it?
see.
Okay.
Let me see. Honestly, a proud moment was the amazing news that we got.
Okay.
That was, that I'm still speechless on that.
Okay.
Um, but it's just confirmation, that we collectively is definitely heading in the right direction.
Absolutely,
For our
absolutely.
goal of impacting people's lives. So I'm very excited, to be part of this movement, and I'm excited about tonight.
Hey Ty, hey Frank. I'm excited too.
Yes.
So and yes, and if you guys have been following, hey Cheryl, if you guys have been following our posts, we've been working really, really hard just to get the word out about Legacy House, my Legacy House, and what we're trying to build and the resources that we're trying to bring forward. And we've gotten word that we're going to be getting some assistance to help do that, and so we're very, very excited. We'll be coming with more detailed information as we get it, but right now it looks like we're heading in the right direction. And so with all of you guys' support and input and hard work and participation, we're able to continue to build people and rebuild people from the ground up, and to provide these resources. Hey, Stephen, we're going to get you in here in a second, Stephen. We're just getting our intro recap in. But yes, we're super excited. I can't wait to share all the information with everyone, but just know that we are pushing forward and we're not stopping, and we want to make sure everyone has access to the resources that they need, and everybody does not need the same resources. So we're doing our best to accommodate the plethora of people who we have been coming in contact with so that we can be impactful. So with that being said, Lorenzo, give me an opportunity for improvement from this week.
Improvement for this week, to be very honest with you, and I'm going to go back to a couple of weeks, is the time management.
Okay.
It seemed like each and every day, you're getting hit with that little curveball, and you try not to strike out, but you find yourself striking out. But as I stated before a couple of weeks ago, really maximizing on your resources that you have at your disposal. And, like you said before, we sometimes have to just put trust in other people.
Absolutely. Not just anybody. They have to
No.
prove their worth, but absolutely, you're absolutely correct. Sometimes we have to offload. We are not all powerful. We are not all knowing. Okay. We don't have all the capabilities, and we have to be able to be humble enough to recognize that, and smart enough to invest in other people so that they can help continue taking our vision forward. So I'm very excited at the week ahead. I'm excited at the days ahead. I'm excited at the minutes ahead. On this live tonight, we have who do we have tonight? We have Stephen, Camille, and Rockett. Yeah, Stephen, Camille, and Rockett. And so and we're gonna be talking about self-awareness. Self-awareness.
And use that.
Oh,
he's
okay.
Worse.
Listen, I know I can always use a little kick in the butt for self-awareness, and just that continuous stride to be more self-aware, more situationally aware, so that I can keep making myself stronger as a person, as a business person, as a service person, as a philanthropist. So I'm going to have you go ahead and hop out, unless you want to share something else with the class. I'm going to have you hop out.
Yeah, the only other thing that I want to say, to all those that are currently on live, I just want to say thank you guys for definitely taking part in our movement. Continue to spread the word. More importantly, if you have mentees out there that are undecided, just kind of need some sense of direction. That's what we're here for. Us, our mentors, everybody's really committed, and just continue to spread the love. This is a free service. And, this is something that, that you just can't just walk into a school and ask for. You're getting some real world experience from all these seasoned veterans.
Absolutely. And I will say that our programs are completely 100% free, will always be. Okay. And all you have to do is go to the link in our bio, tell somebody, go to the link in our bio, fill out an application. It's a really quick, 4-line application. I really don't need that much information about you, because our mentors will pull all of that out of you later. But it's a free 52-week program. Some people think it sounds daunting, but really it's just a day-by-day thing. But you get the full benefit of participating for a full 52 weeks, because we go through different topics every Monday, and that spans the length of 1 year. And so you're going to see a tremendous amount of growth in that 1 year. You're going to make amazing connections, friendships, business connections, and just really flesh out what it is that you need to make your life the most productive and the most rewarding for you. So with that
Absolutely.
PSA, with that
All right.
PSA.
All right. Well, thank you, once again. And I'm looking forward to our mentors tonight. And thank you guys once again. And I'm going to jump out of this space. Thank you.
All right. And I'm going to bring our mentors on in.
Okay. All right.
Ciao. Bye. All right. We've got Stephen. We've got Camille, who'll be joining us in just a few. What's up, ZP? How you doing? Hi, Stephen.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good. How you feeling?
You know what? I'm feeling good. I'm excited. I'm
Good.
I'm glad that you're on the live tonight.
Me too.
New face.
Sorry I'm in the car. I just left the gym. So I'm
hey, listen. You got to do what you got to do.
That's a fact. That is a fact. But I'm happy to be here. I'm excited. I'm ready to discuss this. This is such an interesting topic.
And I think it's much needed. We're just waiting on Rockett and Camille to hop in. I know Camille had to work today, so she is on her way. And if we need to, we can, Raina is ready to pop in if we need to, but I'm going to let her rest for a little bit because she's in the chat room. Hey, Raina boo. And so while we're waiting for Rockett, tell me about your week. How was your week?
It's been good. We just did Halloween, so my son went trick-or-treating. That was good. He has a new commercial that's out. That's airing, I think, in the Midwest. So that's a win, another parent win.
That's awesome.
But all in all, my week has been good. Just moving forward with a project. It's called Bigger Than You. Met with a director, so we're hoping that he wants to sign on board and we can just continue to move forward.
That's awesome.
I'm excited. And continue my workout plan. I'm in on this 90-day workout plan. I keep hitting myself on new ones, but I'm on a new 90-day workout plan.
Listen, it's all a work in progress. You look great. I was like, wait a minute, what you doing? Hey.
Just something new because I like to challenge myself.
That's awesome. Keep it up. You're doing an amazing job. Hey, Keisha, how are you doing, girl? All right. So then give me an opportunity for improvement from this week.
As I was studying self-awareness, I realized the opportunity for me is defensiveness. To not be so quick to be defensive and to actually be more of an active listener. I consider myself so strategic in my moves that when people tell me about it, I'm almost like, I have something to say before I even fully listen it out. So for self-improvement, I was like, I'm just going to hear people out without having anything to say.
You know what? That's actually a good tip because I think we all kind of have that, like, especially if we have strong personalities, we kind of tend to have that way. Hold on now,
Yeah, I was like, and we're artists too. Like, it's like I'm sensitive about my art. I'm an actor, so it's like you already have emotions that you have to attach to and like get a hold of. So it's just self-growth with me and realizing that you don't have to be so defensive, and I don't have to defend myself. I can just hear somebody out and still move how I want to move. Just respect the people that I love.
I love it. Well, that's extremely self-aware of you, and I love that opportunity for improvement because I think so many people can relate to that. So that's awesome. That's awesome. So I wanted to let people know because I'm still trying to get Rockett and Camille in here, but really quickly, we still have the job opportunities with Child 360 for the sub 360 program. All you have to do is inbox me. Inbox Legacy House, and I can give you the information for what you need to do to look into that program to get started. You have all the resources that you need to complete that particular job or that job opportunity. So if you're interested in becoming a teacher for early childhood education, then definitely go ahead and shoot us an inbox message and we will get that information over to you. I do want to shout out a couple of people. Oh, there's Rockett. I do want to shout out a couple of people because we've got some new mentors. We've got some new mentors in our at My Legacy House. And so we'll be introducing them over the next couple of weeks. But we have oh hey Rockett, we have Ike and we have D, and then we have one more individual, Daniel. And hopefully they'll be joining us on the lives here soon. But we're very excited because now we have more bandwidth to entertain, and not really entertain, but edutain and support some more mentees. And so we're very, very, very excited about that. Hey, Kim. Hey, everybody coming on in here. We're happy to have you here. We're going to be talking about self-awareness. Self-awareness. I'm just going to pin that really quickly so that when folks come in, they know what we're talking about. They know what we're talking about. Rockett.
What's going on?
How was your week?
My week was exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
I had an exhausting weekend. I had to work in Vegas. I literally did not get to lay down, but for 4 hours throughout those 2 days.
Oh, so you got to work in Vegas, huh?
Mm-hmm.
You got to work in Vegas. That's a blessing. Hey,
Yeah.
Long Beach, Vegas girl. Miss Kiki says, hey, Kim. She says, hey, fam. Miss Kiki says, self-improvement for me. Stop being a people pleaser, especially at my expense. Ooh, that is a great opportunity for improvement. That's a great opportunity for improvement. Rockett, what was a proud moment for you this week?
That I did everything that I was supposed to do.
Hey, listen, that is not something to
Listen,
stick your nose
everything
up.
that I was supposed to do, I did it. I thought it was for sure. Sometimes I was gonna like, you know what? I'm gonna just go ahead and let that one slide. I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna call in on that. I did everything I was supposed to do this week.
Congratulations, that's amazing. In the chat, I want you guys to let me know a proud moment that you had this week or an opportunity for improvement. So, Rockett, with that being said, what was your opportunity for improvement this week?
Time management on sleeping, getting some more rest.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I
That's
was
important.
working. I was like, yo, I was trying to do so much, and I didn't factor in time to get some rest. Mm-hmm.
That happens.
But
Especially
I
when
got
you have a
everything
lot of
done.
pots. Say
Yeah,
it again.
I got everything done.
You got everything done except sleep.
I made up for it today.
That's important.
Well, that's good. That's good. We got people
Mm-hmm.
filing in now. Hey, Diego. Hey, is that really Cam? Hey, Tess. And Crown Me Ashley. Welcome to the chat today. Welcome to My Legacy House, where everything starts at home. Today we are talking about self-awareness. What we do here on Monday nights is part of our Quality Queens initiative and our Whole Warriors Collaborative, which is our life skills, e-mentorship and empowerment programs, completely 100% free out of Legacy House, out of My Legacy House. And we go through a life skill every week. And so we jump in with 2 to 3 mentors. Usually it's 3 mentors. And we discuss and we explore and discover new ways to tackle these life events, these big life themes that we need a little bit of support on usually. So that's what we're doing here tonight. And we love your participation in the comments because we do read them. Ty French actually says, hard work over the last few months paid off. She's grateful for career promotions this week. Congratulations, Ty. That is an amazing proud
Hey,
moment.
that's
Yeah.
what's up.
That's an amazing proud moment.
Mm-hmm.
She definitely works really hard. If you guys want to pop down and definitely follow her, she has amazing things going on. She's a creative genius and all of that. And there's Camille. Oh, I did good with holding the line. I held the line. So, Camille, I'm gonna go ahead and get you in here so that we can get this party started as we get more and more people in here as well. And if you guys could share this live so that we get more people into the conversation, because I think that it's needed and necessary. That means the same thing. And I think that we are able to help each other grow when we have more people. And I'm just getting Camille in here really quickly, and then we are off to the races. Here you go, Mel. All right, Righteous Neighbor says hard work is the lifeblood of success. Absolutely. Absolutely. Welcome back, Righteous Neighbor. Happy to have you in the chat. Hey, Camille. Oh, we're out here about to discuss life skills, and I just want to pop in and ask you really quickly how your week was. Give me a proud moment and an opportunity for improvement.
So my week was good. I actually just got back from New Orleans a few days ago. So I was on vacation, ate well, did a lot of walking, a lot of tours, that sort of thing. So it was good. It was nice to kind of recharge. Proud moment. So this crazy, but my proud moment actually happened Sunday evening or Saturday evening into yesterday morning. So I wanted to go to the Laker game last night, but I typically work on Sunday mornings and I work out after I get off work. But I knew that I wasn't going to be able to get a workout in after work and go to the Laker game. So I decided that I was going to go to bed early and wake up early, get a workout in before work. But I'm not a morning person, so I was really skeptical of my own, motivation to do this. But I went to bed Saturday night, 7:30, woke up 3:30 in the morning, went on a 5-mile run before work.
Ooh,
And
5 miles.
so, it's something really small, but I felt really accomplished all day at work. And then when I was sitting at the Laker game, I felt like I earned that seat. So
that
Mhm.
definitely will set your tone. Absolutely. Righteous Neighbor said that's when it's best. I completely agree. All right, opportunity for improvement.
improvement. I didn't, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I'm gonna be candid. I didn't want to drink as much as I did in New Orleans. I had told myself that I was gonna take it easy, and a couple nights just got away from me. So, just kind of room for improvement for this week. I just want to get back to kind of homeostasis, and that I want to make sure that I get my good cleanse in my body. I got a lot of green juices that I'm drinking this week, and just kind of trying to get back to center and get my body back the way I want it to be.
That's you know what? Listen, we're human in here. Crown Me Ashley says, "Nah, that's major. She hasn't run 5 miles collectively in 5 years. I don't think I've run 5 miles." Okay,
Collectively.
so congratulations. So let's go ahead and hop right into this. We are talking about self-awareness, and I want to ask the chat room. Hey, everybody coming all into the chat room. On a scale of 1 to 10, I want you guys to rate yourselves on the following. We'll start off with the first one, emotional awareness. Without me having to define it, emotional awareness. Rate yourselves 1 to 10. I'm gonna start with you, Stephen, while we let the folks participate.
All right. I'm gonna go with 8. Only reason I would rate it even nearly that high is because to be an actor and to train as it, they have forced us to be so emotionally aware.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't grow up that way. If you would ask childhood Stephen, then it would have been like, I don't even know. Somewhere so low that it's like, I don't even know, because the only thing you was aware of was your surroundings and what people told you. It wasn't until I broke out into adulthood that I actually became so self-aware that my emotions mattered and I had to address them and to be aware of them. So I'm going to go with 8 just because of what we had to do and study as actors.
Okay, that's fair. Crown Me Ashley says 10. Tess says a 10. Now Keisha says emotional awareness 8.5. Simple Ty says 9. Okay, these are kind of it. Righteous Neighbor says 10. I feel like Righteous Neighbor is telling the truth. Okay, Camille, what about you? On a scale of 1 to 10, emotional awareness.
The number, but I would give myself an 8 as well on the emotional awareness scale, if you will. So I live in a constant state of checking my emotions and my attitude. That's just kind of who I am. I'm generally an easygoing person, so when I deal with difficult emotions, I do my best to identify and accept whatever it is that I'm feeling. And I'm constantly assessing how people receive me and how people react to me. I take the temperature in every room that I walk into, just to make sure that I'm always, in the right space. And I know that we're going to get into all of that, but I personally use difficult emotion rather than negative emotion, just because, I think that, so for instance, we can all agree that happiness, is not a negative word, but that may be a difficult emotion for someone to experience.
Mm-hmm.
So apply, positive and negative to things like happiness versus, sadness. But I think that, difficult emotions is a little bit, I think that using the word difficult just describes it a little bit better,
Mm-hmm.
because some of those things are, a little bit more difficult for people to navigate. You know, I'm kind of one of those people that would, anything that has the word negative, you know, attached to it, but I'm also the person that would go after anything that might be difficult. So that's why you kind of shy away from things that you know are going to be negative, but not necessarily things that are difficult. So that's kind of why I don't use the word negative emotion, but I use the word difficult emotion. So that's
Okay. But if you had to use a number, 8.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Rocky, what about you, real quick?
I would say 8.
Okay.
I feel like I'm 8.
All right. We got some people that are saying, oh, they're at about a 7. They said emotional intelligence is a different thing, and so they probably have a different rating system for that, and that's fair. We got some more people that joined the chat. Hey, Des. So, what about self-knowledge? Self-knowledge, scale of 1 to 10.
Me?
Rocket, we'll
Is
start
that
with
me
you.
first?
Go
Okay.
ahead.
Okay.
No, we're gonna go with Rocket.
Self-knowledge.
Okay.
I would 7, 8.
Okay.
I'm still getting to know myself.
Okay. Right's neighbor says he's at a 10. He's 10. He's 10s across the board. Okay. Steve, what about you? Self-knowledge.
That's an interesting one because I feel like we're such in a constant state of change and growth. Like once I get to know myself, I challenge myself again and become like a better version of myself.
Okay.
So if that's the case, and I guess a 10 because I keep busting through it, but each time you bust through it, you drop down a little bit and you got to learn that person too. So right now, where I'm at right now, I'm at a 10. I'm at a really good place with knowing who I am.
I love that.
But I'm
Okay.
sure I'm gonna bust through this and it's gonna drop down again. But that's the journey of life.
Okay. I like that. I'm not mad at that. I think that's actually very, to be on the nose, self-aware of you. Camille, self-knowledge.
I'm at like a 7 on self-knowledge.
Okay.
Yeah, like a 7.
That's fair. And now this last one, everybody's going to lie about this. Self-confidence.
Oh, what?
What?
I mean,
Camille.
I mean, feel like everybody else. I'm like a strong 9.
Okay.
Self-confidence. Yeah. You know what I mean? You know, and the reason I say that is because growing up, I didn't really have much confidence. I think it has something to do with kind of being the youngest person and the smallest person in my peer group a lot of times. So, you know, I felt like I always had to follow someone else's lead to get along. But, you know, things changed for me when I went to college. I was the only person who looked like me, who talked like me, who came from where I came from. So I was on my own. I didn't have anybody to follow. I didn't have anybody to hide behind or look to. So I learned to lead, and I ain't looked back since. So I'm gonna stick with 9.
I like it. Look, I'm not mad at it. Let me see here. So you got Stay Fit with Peace. It says a 10. Where are we at? Righteous Neighbor says he's always at a 10. And then Miss Kiki says self-confidence. Can we be negative? LOL. She'll say 6, depends on her environment and with what. And that is honest. Listen, Tess says, oof, 7, yes. 9 on a good day nowadays. That's honest too. And I love the transparency. Let me say, I don't take that for granted when people are being transparent, when they feel like they're not, you know, on Righteous Neighbor's level. And I love that you can withhold that, you know, not withhold, maintain that. Righteous Neighbor. He says he's a 10 on his. But he's aware that he might not reach his life's goals due to obstacles. And that's absolutely a real thing. That's absolutely a real thing. And that's something to be aware of, because you can still be confident and not necessarily obtain all of your goals. And that's fair and that's okay. We're human. But I do appreciate people being transparent about that. So now, for the definitions, emotional awareness is the recognition of one's emotions and their effects on other people. The recognition of one's emotions and their effects on other people. Self-knowledge is the knowledge of one's strengths and limitations. And self-confidence is sureness about one's self-worth and capabilities. So we're going to be exploring all of those those three elements, which make up the elements of self-awareness. So when we talk about self-awareness, people who have this, who are, we'll call it 7s and above, they tend to quickly and easily recognize emotions that they feel. Hey, Indy. They quickly and easily recognize emotions that they feel. They understand the effects of those emotions, and that the effects that those emotions have on their thinking and their actions. Now, when we get into like the nitty gritty of these definitions and explore what it means to be high on the scale of these particular qualities, it's important to know that it's nuanced. It's nuanced. You may be high emotionally on your awareness level, but still not, check all the boxes. Kind of like what Righteous Neighbor was saying. You might not get all your goals, but you can still be really, really high on this scale. People who are high on the scale rely on internal signals that tell them or inform them on their emotions. So if somebody is triggered because of something that happens or something that somebody says, like earlier, Stephen was talking about how his opportunity for improvement is to not be defensive when someone is telling him either about himself or something that he could improve upon and things like that. If they understand that they can rely on their internal intelligence to tell them, okay, this is how you're feeling and this is why you're feeling this way, then they can manage the negative feelings that come up. And I know Camille doesn't like the word negative, but for all intents and purposes, something that's not pleasant feeling is going to, tend to be put in the negative box. But like Righteous Neighbor said in the chat, you can't have positive without negative, just like you can have light without darkness, et cetera, et cetera. But the important thing, I think, for our purposes is that to maintain self-motivation. People who are high on the emotional awareness piece tend to maintain self-motivation. Camille ran 5 miles so she can go to the Laker game and cut up.
Get it
Rockett didn't sleep, but went to Vegas to work and that's hard work up there, especially in the line of work that he does contract out for. And then Stephen, the entertainment industry, that is a dog-eat-dog world anyway. And so you have to stay motivated. I'm just checking the chat to see if anybody is talking about this whole emotional awareness piece. And right on cue, Righteous Neighbor says, unresolved childhood memories should be resolved with knowledge that your parents weren't as smart as you and forgive them for not knowing as much as you. Ooh, now that is something to unpack because people don't really talk about that. People don't talk about that. Kids.
I mean, I think it's a big deal to have to forgive your parents when you become an adult and you start to be more aware of life and the challenges and curves that life brings. Then you become, I feel, more forgiving, especially to any of the older people in your family, because it's like, I don't even know what you was going through. I don't even know the battles,
the amount of respect
internally,
that
externally, that you were going through.
What'd you say, Rockett?
I said the amount of respect that you tend to have for these people that you might not have had at a higher level, but now that you know and understand the stuff, the sacrifices, the things that they did to try to give a better life for you or put you in a better situation, understanding that they're not going to be able to, they were learning too.
Absolutely.
Right. So it's like one of those things.
And it's so interesting that you guys bring up it, like Righteous Neighbor and you guys are talking about, forgiving your parents or having a little more insight into what your parents may or may not have been going through and the abilities they had and what they did, with what they had at the time. When you're high on the emotional awareness scale, you tend to accurately tune in to the feelings of those around you. And so that means that people who brought you up, you're able to now say, you know what, I can step in their shoes and see what it is that they were dealing with and kind of be empathetic to that plight. Miss Kiki says, sometimes you have to travel farther back in your bloodline and forgive your parents' parents for some things. Some of our parents only did what they had seen or what was done to them. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I agree.
And it takes a step in the right direction when we become more emotionally aware because we are now part of this whole human experience that our ancestors were a part of back in the day.
I just feel like they was way more a part of the age of passed down, and we're actually a part of the age of knowledge, where you can really go out and seek knowledge and get it. And so now you can educate your parents, you can educate your kids. It's just a different age. But if you was basing off of what people were just handing down, everybody did. I feel like most people did the best they could. That's why
Hmm.
they deserve forgiving. And like a lot of our parents were young. Everybody was getting married young. They were growing up as we were growing up. They deserve all the forgiveness, for sure,
All
and
of it.
respect.
All of it.
Yeah.
Right? I if you was raised differently, but when your parents tell you to do something, you don't ask why. You just do
Yeah.
it. There is no why. And if you ask why because I said so, there was never an explanation. But now, I see a lot of parents explaining to their children why they need to do something, like what's in it for me kind of thing. And at first it was mind-boggling to me, but I'm like, you know what? This is how evolution works. This is how, the next generation is just better than the last. Like, it's not okay to just say, oh, just because I said so. There's a time and place for that. But when we can slow down and give those explanations, kind of to your point, Stephen, is, it changes.
Like
Absolutely.
even for me, I don't let my son say what's in it for me, but I do let him have a voice because I feel like in our years we didn't have a voice. It was really like be quiet and let the adults talk, speak when spoken to. But I like to always let my son know like your emotions matter, your voice matters. It's just all in delivering how you say it to me. Let me know how you're feeling. Just do it respectfully and then we'll go from there. And I feel
Absolutely.
like it's better because it ain't what you're getting out of it. What you're getting out of it is this food and this bed, this roof, this AC, this the shoes on your feet. Like this is what you're getting out of it.
And I don't think
But
it's so much of a whiffum in the way that we would consider a whiffum, but the I think in terms of the learning curve, because we see this in school and other educational institutions, that you have to give somebody the context and the association to be able to cut and paste the lesson when it's a different topic or situation so that they can then thrive without looking to you for you to tell them what to do because you said to do it. And so I think it's the context and it's the point, the learning points that we need to impart when it's why. It's not so much of a questioning authority, but it's more of a let me know what I'm supposed to take away from this experience other than just to do what somebody who's older than me and shares my blood tells me to do or has authority over me to tell
mm-hmm,
me to do. And I think that is the point that we're getting at now in child psychology and all of that, that sets the tone for us in
mm-hmm,
adulthood to let somebody know why you're doing something. Because if you recall, when we used to get spankings and stuff, if you had like a more of a holistic parent who was still whooping you, you would get talked to afterwards. This is why you got a spanking. And so that you
mm-hmm,
understand that you're not just doing, you're not just getting beat for being a kid. You're getting disciplined because that is not the right thing to do. This is why this is what could happen later, et cetera, et cetera. Now I know everybody does not have that experience. Some people just got whooped to get whooped. Some people just got, some people just,
yeah. Unfortunately,
abuse is a
yes.
real thing. You know what I mean? And I'm not
Yeah.
condoning spanking now, but because we know better, you do better. And we have so many things that are infinitely more productive and more impactful than being impacted. So I don't know what happened to Rockett, but can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, great. All right, let's go into the chat room really quickly. So we have Righteous Neighbor says, be careful with that. It's honorable because of the times. We are their trophies. Millions have passed without the opportunities that we have. Absolutely. Joni, hey
Agree.
Joni, says children were to be seen and not heard. Absolutely. And that's not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily the most correct thing, in my opinion, to do.
They're smarter
Uh,
than we gave them opinion. Like they didn't give us the chance to be as smart as we were. So
absolutely.
they have a chance now.
Absolutely. And Kiki says, yes, I now try to explain to my daughter, but I see the wisdom at times as saying just because too much voice can be dangerous. There's a balance. Young folks got so much voice and I don't know where she was. Finish that thought for us and I can read it. And then she says, okay, saying much or some, I believe it's balance, especially growing up African American is different and has different rules, whether it's fair or not. We have to raise kids on a difficult rubric. And we do, as Black people, we do tend to have a different rubric we're just keeping it a buck here. but we do have different standards that we have been presented with in terms of our success or our being able to thrive in society. And so I absolutely agree with that sentiment, but there is a way to kind of level the playing field, so to speak, and still teach our children the right way to go. And so I think suffice it to say, we just mean we do need to give our parents grace on the emotional, once we become more emotionally aware, to circle back, once we become more emotionally aware and we can accurately tune in to the feelings and thoughts of those around us, and we can develop and use those skills that we acquire to build on our social skills, and more importantly, to build loving and strong, long-term trusting relationships.
I was just going to get into that.
Yeah.
The more self-aware I became in understanding the forgiveness about my family and mother and friends, the more the better individual I became with how to interact with people, understanding how I play a part in certain actions that they may feedback that give me feedback to, or how I move and how it makes other people feel in that dynamic. When I started to understand that, and I started to be more sympathetic or show empathy or be respectful, even in times where this person may have came in upset, it had nothing to do with me, but my old me, because I wasn't aware, I would take it as, this is towards me. I ain't did nothing to you. What's the problem? To understand, like, there's something going on. Let me show grace and mercy, because I understand people are living in this world just the same as me, and we have a lot of stuff going on outside of when we interact with each other. So that's helped me be it's able to have successful relationships with people, and not have people. It's opened up a door where people are more transparent with me, can be honest with themselves in front of me, and people always look to me and open up to me. I used to be like, why do people always just open up to me? What type of, I just give off that open up vibe?
Yes, you do.
And I had to understand why. And it's because when I was able to forgive and understand people and show them sympathy or empathy in times of these situations, because things I went through, I was able to reveal and unlock that, where now people share to me. And I keep trying to keep that space where I give you an opportunity, a space where you can be transparent.
You definitely provide that platform.
That's the best growth. I feel like that's the best growth. That's the best soil I can have. If you're going to be my friend or we're going to interact with each other, if I give you the opportunity to be transparent and I'm not going to judge you, I feel like that's the best soil I can prepare for you so you can grow.
Absolutely. 1,000% agree. 1,000% agree. So that segue. It's not even a thing. I was trying to be smart. Let me just keep it simple. Next. So in terms of self-knowledge, hold on one second, because we have Joni says, I agree. Righteous is so many outside influences that confuse children on who the authority is in the household. And Raina coming through like DJ Khaled says, touche, Rockett. I have that opening up vibe about myself. Yes, you do, Raina. Yes, you do. So in terms of self-knowledge, we're transitioning. That's a better word, transitioning to the next slide. Self-knowledge. Individuals who are high on the self-knowledge spectrum quickly and easily know and understand their strengths and their weaknesses. And they work to strengthen those weaknesses. Tia Georgina says, I can resonate with people always opening up to me, but how do you balance that when not taking on other people's problems? And we will talk about boundary setting, Tia. We absolutely will, because that is definitely a point where we talked about, I think last week or at some point, giving from the surplus and not the reserves. And so it's about boundary setting when it comes to that. When you know you have an inviting spirit, you need to definitely learn how to know your limitations and then work accordingly with those. But we're always continuously working towards self-development, especially when you're high on the self-knowledge. Righteous Neighbor says, self-knowledge tells me that I'm not divided from self as an individual. You want to help me unpack that a little bit? If you could expound on that, Righteous Neighbor, while we continue this list really quickly. So people who are high on the self-knowledge learn from their experiences. And I think that goes back to when we talk about kids asking why and all of that. We have to be able to learn from our experiences and not just from anecdotal experiences from the people who are raising us or who are bringing us into these maturation spaces.
Yes.
They have an interest in learning about various aspects of themselves, right? So Tia, Georgina, this is where we're talking about understanding that you are inviting, and then also understanding where your limitation lies and accepting it, not being judgmental about it, because that can really sabotage you in your growth, in your maturation, in your productivity, psychologically or otherwise. So I think it's important that we are receptive to honest, direct, and open messages from others, like you were talking about, Stephen, by not being defensive and all that. That helps us with our self-knowledge. It helps us. We got
But
a
for
lot of
me,
people telling us.
I think even the like being self-aware, because people always come for you, or whatever. I always felt like if I was in a group of people and somebody was going to ask for money, they was going to ask me because they knew I was going to give it to them. Something about me said, I want to help you. If you ask me for help, then I will help you. Because what I always felt, and it was true, because I always felt like if somebody could, Lord, like it was in you enough to ask for help, because I'm a powerful person too. If I ask you for help, that means I really, really need it. So I'm assumed that everybody that asked me for help really, really needed it. LA had to break me of that. LA was like, okay, enough is enough. But
Yeah,
coming from
right.
Virginia, I was like, if you ask me for help, that's what I'm supposed to do as your neighbor, as your fellow just man. That's what I thought I was supposed to do. So learning to say no was a thing in learning the boundaries, and then learning not to say no too much. Because once I learned no, I felt empowered. Then I was like no to everything. I was like, hey, no, 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 no. If you don't want to be friends no more, it don't matter. No. So then you learn the balance of it, and that to me was another like level of self-awareness. Learning to be like yes when I can say yes, and no when is no, and just standing on it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because what we do is when we can utilize the information we get from other people that give us information about ourselves, is that we take that and we find the areas for improvement in ourselves based on what people say, what we notice on our own, because we notice when stuff ain't right sometimes with ourselves. But if you guys notice, I don't know if you guys in the chat room have noticed, if you've gotten on early enough to hear when I ask Lorenzo and then the mentors what their opportunities for improvement are, because that's the first line of being self-aware enough to say, you know what, life can always be getting better. I can always be getting better. This is how I know, because now I'm paying attention, because Brit's going to ask me the same question every week. And so I need to start paying attention to the things that are happening in my life during the week when I'm away from Legacy House, and where I can pinpoint my opportunities for growth there. And you can't do that if you are not emotionally aware, and if you don't have a high enough level of self-knowledge to where you can actually lay the groundwork to propel. Raina says she can be a people pleaser. She's definitely learning to set boundaries and not overextend herself to people. Righteous Neighbor said he's glad he was born a Libra. Happy belated birthday. Man, he feels people's pain. An individual means undivided from self. That's the etymology of it. We are the same. It's as deep as why river water is divided from the ocean, and is actually fresh water at some point. So we do tend to change as we separate from the group, and then we come back to that in the whole cycle, the whole ecosystem of humanity, where we start in one spot, we move through a whole process called living, and we end up at the same spot as everybody else. And so it's important to factor that into our humility when we're living. So moving on to self-confidence. And we see if we have any more. Oh, wait, hold on. We still got some more people. Okay, listen, I love this participation, y'all. Keep it coming. Tess says, I fell in love. Yeah, the comments going off. I love it. Tess says, I fell in love with the power of no, but definitely leaning more toward yes when it's yes, and definitely no when it's no. And it's important to know the difference. It's important to know the difference. So now, moving on to self-confidence, which was everybody's favorite. Because everybody thinks they're oozing with it.
Listen, I'm not even going to lie to you. I didn't get the answer, but I was for sure like, self-confidence, Myself, I gonna say it's not low. It's like 7, 8, but it's because it changes with the situation as I grow. Like how I said, like my awareness, and or what was the one right before this? It was
Self-knowledge.
self-awareness,
Self-knowledge.
self-knowledge. Like I felt the same as my man,
Do you
that when I bust through where I am, it's like I'm
Mm-hmm.
always resetting myself up. So I understand I get to a point where I'm maximizing at where I am, but I know I'm getting past that. So it drops me back. So that confidence I have to kind of build back up into when I get, as I'm growing. I'm getting confident in this part of my life or this level of my life. And then when I bust through that, bam, I'm back down. But I never really dropped lower than a 7 or 8, but because my awareness of where I am, I stay humble, and I know that it's going to take some time for me to grow into these shoes that I'm now starting to fill.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just one of those, I'm recurring. I'm just going up and down like this. As I continue to get high, I have to drop down so I can be self-aware of where I am in my process and my growth, so I can grow in the right manner. And then, bam, I'm at it again. So I'm always looking to get better. I'm always challenging myself to get better mentally, physically, just throughout the whole process of me just living. That's why I'm big on learning.
I think that's so interesting, because I look at that, what you guys have described in this session so far, as like, I look at that as the benchmark moving, not your confidence level. I think that if you're at a 10, I think you can stay at a 10, like Wretch's neighbor, you can stay at a 10, but the benchmark for the goal is moving.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that
But
you
I
can,
think a lot.
because, what's up?
I mean to cut you. Sorry to cut you off, but I think a lot of times the confidence comes in the preparation and how
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
prepared you can be for whatever the situation is. So when something new is coming, it's like, now I need to learn this skill. I need to learn it so much that I'm
Oh.
confident in it. So that's where
Mm-hmm.
it drops down a little bit. Not the confidence in myself. I'm still a 10, or I wouldn't do something new.
Right.
But my confidence in being the best at whatever it is that I'm doing has now lowered, and I need to work my way up to that 10. I need to get my jump shot to where I feel like it's a 10 now.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Can I flip that on its head a little bit?
Yep.
Please.
So your confidence does not waver. The skill, because you can only be yourself. You're not going to be a great jump shooter. You have a skill, but you yourself, because that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about our achievements or anything like that. We're talking about our confidence in ourselves. So we have a 10 on the scale of confidence that will be able to tackle the challenges to acquire more skills, but not acquire more confidence. That should be tapped out. And mind you, I put a cap on it because I said a 1 to 10. But it's infinite, really. You know what I mean? It's just, you're just growing and growing and growing, and not necessarily like, oh, I'm getting to a 10 and holding. No, we're continuously growing. But I think I was trying to draw out of you guys that we're never dropping down in our confidence. We are staying or excelling in our confidence, and just the things that we're tackling either are more challenging or are going to equip us to help humanity out in another way. But we are still that 10s across the board confident, because I know all three of you guys, and you have every reason to be 10s across the board. You know what I mean?
No, and I definitely agree. Like, the confidence doesn't waver. It's just the confidence in whatever skill it is that you're picking up new. If I've never built a wall before, my confidence in building that wall doesn't make me not a 10. I'm coming to build the wall if that's what we're coming to do. But
Yep.
as
I'm
I
still showing
learn
up.
how to build this wall, yeah, I'm coming.
I'm gonna be
That's the
like
10.
this, though.
That's the 10 that doesn't waver. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
looking
the
at how
10.
they lay that down right there.
Yeah.
My wall look like
And
that.
as I learn how they lay that down, it's going to move up
And
to
I
a
have
10.
to
But in
disclaimer.
myself, yeah.
And I have to disclaim, mind you, when I'm talking to y'all, I'm really talking to me. So I never want anybody in the chat room to ever think that I'm sitting up here on a pedestal giving y'all the life, right? Am I there?
Yeah, I hear you. You did
Now you
freeze for
better
a
get it.
moment.
I hear you now.
Okay. All right. Look, I caught it. I'm not sitting on a pedestal talking down. I'm walking through this thing with you guys. And so that's why I'm able to ask the questions, and I come to certain realizations to kind of bring it out to see if you guys feel the same, or you're like, Brit, you missed this one, boo. You know what I mean? So let's check out the comments real quick. Righteous Neighbor says, it's forever like that. It's your gravity that keeps you here because you have work to do. So that keeps you growing. Look, so he comes through with the gems every week.
For me.
Okay. Joni says, self-confidence honors who you are, where you are, at the power of arriving in the present. I firmly understand that we have all overcome situations and people that we thought would fold on us, but we out here. Yes, we are. Raina says, man, Rockett Tokyo-ish. She can resonate with that. She's confident. Her confidence can be situationally based. It's up and down. She's confident in certain things, but could be lacking in confidence in other situations. Lorenzo says, self-confidence. Wow, this is deep. Righteous Neighbor is giving us a whole template. 5 P's. Prior preparation prevents poor performance. His secret weapon. We lay it forward.
Yes.
Everything you're discussing will come back as a lesson learned. Absolutely.
I have no idea where I ever heard that from before, but I remember that. I heard that somewhere.
Your coach told you.
Always, probably somewhere.
It's always a coach.
That just,
you already know it's a coach.
When I looked and I seen 5 P's, I'm just automatic. When I started reading, I'm like, yeah. Oh, like,
well, yep, it was a little less appropriate though when my coach told me.
Yeah, it was a little more aggressive.
A little more aggressive.
Yeah.
Veronica says all 20s on the panel. Thank you, Veronica. And then Righteous Neighbor says you're a culmination of your life experiences. Absolutely, absolutely. And then Lorenzo says, well said, Joni. Absolutely. Listen, our chat room is on fire today. Okay. On fire today. Yep, Raina says it was definitely a coach. Her track coach told her that. It's always a coach.
It's always a coach.
They all go to like a coach's convention and say, hey, tell your kids this. That's all you need to say. You know? But
they said that you wasn't listening, you was rolling your eyes.
That part. And now look at us.
Yeah, you was mad because you was out of breath, but now it's like, no, somebody said that to me.
We're traumatized. We're traumatized. Yeah. So people who are high in self-confidence, they're aware of their own capabilities, and they have the command presence and the confidence to voice their opinions that are different from others. They tend to be charismatic, but they inspire confidence in other people. Rockett, what? Okay.
Hey.
I had to do my morning.
Go off then, bro. Go off then.
I had to get it off after you already know.
Go off then. They're able to make tough decisions and follow a course of action they believe in. And they work to persist through difficulties, and they effectively use their skills. Okay? That's a person who is high in self-confidence. They believe in themselves, full stop. And they do everything from that vantage point. And that's where we want everybody to get. And the Righteous Neighbor is spot on, but that doesn't mean we don't feel pain. It's as deep as the confidence. Absolutely. Facts. The higher you are, the harder you fall.
Man.
Listen.
Whew. Having confidence don't mean that you always get the win.
Yeah.
It just means that you accept doing your best and you're just going to keep on coming back and doing it. Like they can't stop you.
That's all. You bounce back from the loss.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You bounce back from the loss. So diving deeper, let me ask this question to you guys and to the group. How many people like exploring their emotions? Now, does it terrify you? Does it excite you? And why? Rockett, we'll go with you first.
I like to explore it now. I always didn't, but it got to a certain part where I knew that so many people were coming to me and being transparent to me and being honest about them. I was having to look at myself and be honest with myself to me, before I can be able to even take on others people's honesty, for me to not look at them a certain way or feel a certain way. So I started to really challenge myself I always do checkups. I always do checkups with how I feel, what I'm going through, what type of feelings I'm in. And sometimes I might not always have the answer, but I'm always checking up like, okay, well, I know there's something. I don't know what that might be. And then I keep moving. And then as I interact with people, other stuff starts to opening up because I'm starting to learn and I'm listening to other people. I'm like, I might have, let me see how this, and then I really go take the time to go put forth effort, like looking up things. I'm reaching out to people. I'm having conversations with I'm going to therapy. I'm looking up stuff on YouTube. I'm all that. So I really now been fell in love with trying to be the best me.
You're doing a good job.
And I'm aware that
I'm
not going to be perfect. I'm aware that I'm not going to be perfect, but I'm still going to go ahead and try. I'm going to give it my all. So that's the one thing that Like
I
I
love that,
enjoy.
Rocket. I love that. Steven, does it excite you to explore your emotions or does it terrify you?
Um, it terrified me until it got exciting.
I love these collective
Like,
answers. I love it.
no, because I was very, very scared because we just came from a place that everything was such in the box. Like we all wore the baggy jeans, we all had Timbs, we all had white t-shirts. It was such a thing that when I had to start exploring myself and figuring out who I was afraid of it. I was afraid of the emotions. I was afraid of my anger, of it being too much, or whether it was worthy, or whether it was for that person. Like I had to figure out what I was mad about in life. So all these things were scary. But as I started to achieve those levels of awareness, like it was exciting. It's like, oh wow, like and relieving. Like I can let that go. It doesn't bother me no more. And as I became more and more self-aware, less bothered me. It's like that serenity that comes with it. It was a blessing. So it was scary, but now it's exciting.
It's peaceful. I listen. Look, that's a whole soundbite. Don't be surprised if you see that later. Okay, Camille, exciting or terrifying?
Really explore my own emotions. It kind of, I'm that extreme, but it definitely doesn't excite me.
Okay.
I definitely know when I'm experiencing a particular emotion, and I, know how to sit in that, when that needs to happen. But that's pretty much the extent of it. I'm one of those people who, pays more giving other those moments. Like I forget to feel, and and I don't pay attention to those subtle cues that I should be
Mm,
noticing. I'm
Mm-hmm.
definitely doing a lot better. My family is really, really helping me with that. For a really long time, I confused emotion with right.
Mm.
We're kind of one and the same. And, I'm not an overly sensitive person. So I thought that if I wasn't sensitive, then I couldn't have emotion. But they're not interchangeable. They're not one and the same, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I'm learning right now. I'm actually in that space right now where I'm learning to kind of, okay, it's okay to have this emotion. It's okay to be sad or to grieve or, just to feel whatever it is. So
Mm-hmm. And that's important that you point out because emotions are like the song, right? And the sensitivity is like the volume. So if the song is the song, but how hard or how much you feel or hear the song, that's what's going to make the difference. And so when we think about sensitivity and emotions, having emotions, I think it's easiest to kind of see it in that regard. We have righteous
I think it.
neighbor. What's up? I'm sorry.
No, I said one of the things that I felt was the hardest for me was figuring out the difference between hurt and anger
Mm,
and how to address people if they hurt me or if they made me angry,
mm,
and not to like hurt the people or like come lash out the people that love you even though you hurt. Like these things, like figuring out those emotions were big to me. As I'm sure it is for everybody. I'm just gonna speak as a man. It was big to me in my manhood.
Mm-hmm.
I
and
wanted
that's
to
Yeah.
say
I
that.
think that's big to kind of like point that out because a lot of times people don't realize that anger is a stifled emotion. It's secondary. It is not usually the first emotion or a primary emotion.
Hmm.
So,
Happiness, sadness, all of that. Those are the ones. Now, when somebody is unable to express those healthily, whether it's
Hmm.
communicatively or it's all communication, but if they can't get it out, it's almost like a constipated emotion, and that blows up as
Hmm.
anger. What were you gonna say, Rocket?
so mine was along the same lines. Mine was more so of being scared and angry, confusing the two. Am I angry, just an angry person, or am I scared because of these situations or things that I'm in, and I just respond out of anger, like, oh, maybe because I'm scared, let me be angry and show that I'm not, make it seem like I'm not. So I'm putting on, I'm flexing for the moment. When I
Mm-hmm.
had to start understanding, like, I was scared in this situation. The reason why I responded in this manner was because of fear, and not that I'm
It's like
just
the
an
young
angry
black man
person.
plight.
Yeah, because I
Mm-hmm.
really used to just walk around and just be like, I'm angry, dude. Like I'm seem like I'm just an angry person, and I'm not that. I'm really walking around, and people see me like, yo, this dude's 6'5", 260. You can't be scared. You can't be fearful of what do you mean? I battle against things every day when I walk out. I don't have the same battles that other people have. I have a different battle, and I have to have a different mindset of how I even approach or how I respond. And at any given time, it can be taken the wrong way. So I'm fearful of how people even may take me. And it's like I can't control their emotions. I can only control me and how I respond. And even that can be taken the wrong way because of how I look, my demeanor, my
Do you
tone.
find yourself being overly friendly because
Yeah.
you're
Yep.
a larger
Miley.
person?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. I'm overly friendly. I'm respectful, overly respectful. I'm, and it's a sense of, I feel like I would be respectful anyway, but I find myself extending respect with getting much disrespect back, but just understanding I can take it on the chin because of who I am, my confidence in myself, my self-awareness of who I am, just being able to move forward. I can deal with this, but I used to always think that people were scared of me when they see me. I would walk in, I'm like, yo, who is this dude? Got a hoodie on. For the longest time, I was like, after that Trayvon Martin, no hoodies. Tinted windows. You got to roll the windows down. Take your hat off while you're driving in the car. Don't ride with more than 2 people in the car. Really, listen, music got to be, I'm like, just how you move. Pull your pants up. Stop sagging. Big clothes make you look sloppy, make you look scary. When people walk and people see me and they walk on the other side of the road or walk on the other side, I'm like, do I give off that you're fearful of me? Like, damn. I'm really trying to move in a place of peace and give out nothing but love, but you don't accept me because you don't think that I'm the same as you.
And the lack of opportunities for you to express all of that turns into anger because it's stifled. You know, V Strong says awareness is key. Raina says that expressing her exploring her emotions low-key terrifies her. Sometimes she chooses not to feel. That can lead to anger. Tess says trying is all it takes. Diego says I'm not afraid of exploring my emotions. I'm weary or leery. Leery of how others will perceive his emotions. Not everyone will cross paths. Not everyone we cross paths with have the emotional maturity to handle emotions. Tess says she prefers to explore her emotions. She's an artist. To explore her emotions, she'd rather not be blindsided by aspects of myself as situations develop. I love that. Diego says he loves emotions. He's like Oprah with emotions. You get emotions. You get emotions. You get my emotions. I love this. Righteous Neighbor says it's how men gain real courage, must run from it, but by asking another to solve the issue, and that's not healthy. Raina says she doesn't like to dwell in negative emotions, but the positive ones, I'm all in, that I dive in head first. And unfortunately, it's the negative experiences that teach us the most. Joni says she explores her emotions over validating them. Emotions and creating a language to explore them, for real. Righteous Neighbor, as human, if you have it, it belongs to you. Kim says, oh, that's good. Song and volume. You can use it. It's fine. I haven't trademarked it. And then V Strong says to Diego, resonates. That resonates. Emotional intelligence is something you develop through experience. Yeah, so everybody is pretty much in the same boat. And it's interesting the plight that we have to take as society, as Black people, as people of color, as the minorities in situations. Yeah, it's definitely something that we have to take into consideration, especially when we are mentoring young men of color, Black men. It's paramount that we recognize it in ourselves so that we know where they're coming from. Now, in terms of, I asked you guys whether it excites you or terrifies you to explore emotions, because emotional awareness is not easily attained. You have to tune into your feelings, but you have to experience them in order to tune in, to be able to assign meaning or significance. That means the same thing. But you have to be able to experience them. And like I said, the negative emotions, sadness, guilt, anger, they're painful, but most people will rather tune them out or avoid them. And that stunts growth. And that's not what we're trying to do here, right? We don't want to spare ourselves the agony. We have to move through it, not over it and not avoid it. Because you know what happens? You prevent valuable information from coming through. And that's not what we're trying to do here either. So what are some physical manifestations associated with your negative emotions? Like embarrassment, for example. What happens when you guys get embarrassed? Camille. Oh, I can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
Now we can. Nope.
I kind of, no?
Now,
No.
every time you say you can, no, it's like delayed or something.
I shrink. I close up when I get embarrassed. Generally speaking, I'm a pretty bright personality. I'm real big, bubbly, you know, not in a taking up a lot of space sense, but when I get embarrassed, it's just like, you know, I don't want anybody to see me. And that's kind of a byproduct of embarrassment, for me anyway.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Steven, what happens when you get embarrassed? What do you feel like?
What I call it is the Eminem approach. When I get embarrassed, I start laughing and I say everything about myself or about the situation to try to like diffuse it real
Get in front
fast.
of it?
So it's like, yeah, I just try to get in front of it real fast and laugh it off. But really, it was whenever I feel embarrassed, it takes me back to childhood Steven. That's what embarrassment does. It's one of the few emotions that when it actually happens brings me back to like seeing my younger self or like being in grade school, being in fifth grade with as simple as the substitute teacher saying your name wrong. And it's like, and you, like she said, you shrink into yourself and stuff. I don't know. That's what I feel about it, about being embarrassed. Like I just learned to get in front of it and do the Eminem thing and talk about myself before I shrink.
Okay. Rockett, when you're embarrassed, what happens to you?
I lean into it. I lean into it. If I'm gonna be embarrassed, I'm gonna be embarrassed in the most flyest, funnest way. I'm gonna lean into it because at the end of the day, how it makes me feel. It used to make me. I used to curl up into a ball and go back to where I was, but I've grown so far from that and understanding that people ain't perfect. I'm not gonna be perfect, and I don't gotta be perfect. So if I make a mistake, hey, that's some of the best things that happen in life during mistakes. You get some of the best comedy during mistakes. You get some of the funnest moments during
The best
mistakes.
food?
Man, for all of that. So I just lean into it. I just take it on the chin. I'm able to like move forward and not really dwell on it.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm a sweater. Listen, look, I try not to wear things that like show. I'll be sweating, and then I just smile real big, or but I'll be sweating. You'll get a Whitney Houston lip. You'll get all the little underarm things going, and I asked that specifically because it's important for us as a group. I'm not trying to take all y'all's time tonight, but it is important for us as a group to identify what we're feeling when we're experiencing negative emotions, because when we identify that, then we can connect it to a cause. And if we do that over a time, then we're able to make changes or determine what changes need to be made either within us or in our environment so that we don't continue to physiologically respond. You know what I mean? And so that's the level of self-awareness that allows us to grow, because we start to identify our triggers. We start to identify the things that can help us, because we know we take our strengths and we use those strengths to help us strengthen our weakness. We got people in the chat. Randa says, depending on the situation, I can shrink up or get quiet or make jokes, amplify the embarrassment in a positive way. Tia Georgina says, my heart sinks and I start talking too much or laugh. That heart sinking, that's a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
Our bodies respond to our minds. Our bodies respond to our minds. So it's important for us to shift the negative experiences rather than ignoring them or avoiding them, so that we can transmute them into positive energy or a positive change and be able to step on it. You know what I mean? So in terms of self-knowledge, really quickly, because I don't want to, belabor the point, but do a self-assessment on yourself. But you got to be honest. That's the only caveat. You have to be honest. I want you to list your strengths. And then I want you to either poll your room and figure out what other people would say your strengths are. Do the same with the weaknesses. And then consider for yourself, what makes you want to be friends with somebody else? Because I was having a conversation with one of our mentors earlier, and I told her that what you see in everyone else around you, good, bad, or indifferent, is all that is in you. That's why I tell you, I'm talking to myself when I'm talking to y'all, because I can only see what's in me when I'm looking at you. And so it's important that you remember that. And I want you to consider how you make your friends, how you make someone your friend, and how they would describe you, and whether or not you agree or disagree with it. And then I want you to identify when you are the most relaxed and at ease. What are you doing? What are you watching? What are you listening to? Who are you around? Because those are things you want to duplicate, because you're at your most real self. You're at your most real self. Righteous Neighbor says, read Jonathan the Livingston Seagull. I'll put that in the comments. Let me write it down. But I'll put that in the comments for our description. But for self-confidence, you really just need to have the ability to see yourself realistically and be capable of taking on challenges and mastering new skills. You can do this with small things. You can do it with small things. Start small.
I think it's better that way.
Say it again.
It's better that way, taking the small steps and doing the small things. That's how you gain it.
That's how you continue to gain confidence, continue to get bigger and bigger, continue to take on more and more, but you have to start small. I was talking to you about this earlier, B, with one of the guys I talk to all the time and mentor. Like, it's just, I tell them, small steps. You don't have to do everything all at one time. You're not going to be able to do everything at one time.
Nope. Here's what I'll say. In terms of building your confidence, I want you guys to pick a skill, pick a skill that you are confident that you could probably learn. I like using the middle of the road language because nobody ever feels completely confident they could absolutely do something. I mean, some of us do feel that way. But for those of you who do not, ballpark something that you could probably tackle, so it has to be something you can do, and start taking baby steps to learning that skill. I have a sneeze stuck and I don't know what's going to happen. That's a real thing. When you have a sneeze, I never thought about that in broadcast, like journalism, like what happens when they have a sneeze that is impending? That is not fun. But I think the biggest takeaway is that you need to use your strengths to strengthen your weaknesses. People are like, oh, how do you do that? If you make friends easily, if that's one of your strengths, for example, you make friends, you walk into a room and you can win, you can own it. But maybe your limitation is physical fitness. Join a fit group, because you can make friends wherever you go. So you go there, you go to a fit group, pick an activity that you actually know how to do or like, and you start making friends. Those friends tend to hold you accountable to coming to fit group all the time. Before you know it, you start getting your wind about you. You start dropping pounds or building muscle. And now that physical fitness is no longer a limitation. You've made it a strength. You want to go through your lives and take this inventory on the self-assessment. And you guys can inbox us, and we can send you, or talk to your mentors. If you're in our program, talk to your mentor and say, hey, I want the self-assessment. And we'll get it over to you for you to do this on yourself. But you want to use your strengths to strengthen your weaknesses so that you can build your self-confidence. So before we get into our final thoughts, the benefits of self-awareness. Basically, you reduce stress, and you're able to interact with the outside world with more confidence and control, and you lessen your feelings of helplessness, and you achieve your goals and enhance your relationships. And I say less stress
Mental health, because you help with anxiety. It cuts anxiety, which is big on the mental health thing. The more you're self-aware, the less anxiety you'll have.
Absolutely. Because that's what we're building here. We're building holistically, mentally healthy people who can move through life being a benefit and a blessing to other people because they are whole. So, final thoughts. We're going to go around the room real quick. Final thoughts on self-awareness, on whatever you want to talk about. We'll start with Rockett.
I say it's very important to make sure you guys self-check in with yourself. Anytime that you're going through things and you feel like you have to try to hold your feelings apart from what you actually, what's actually going on, one thing I always tell the guys that I'm training and things like that when they're going through certain emotional things, feel your feel, dog. Feel it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way you're going to be able to come back from this and move forward. If you try to, let me go ahead and smother this and just move forward, you're always going to be having something that's going to hinder you. Feel your feel, however long it takes, whatever needs to go on, feel your feel, because I want to give your feelings a space to be able to spill out, to go ahead and move on. And then if that takes a couple of days or months or whatever, where you take time out of your day to feel your feel and then move on with your day. Then you go take time, and each day as you start to see your feelings, as more time you're going to not take as long in your feelings because you're going to start to move forward. But I've learned that whenever you don't self-check in with yourself and feel your feels, you have a lot of anxiety. Your confidence tend to goes down. You tend to muffle everything, all the good voices that you used to hear. You muffle those because you're trying to deal with that and deal with the world. And those are things that I did. And when I got a chance to master it, not really master it, but got better at it, I was able to move forward, less stress, less anxiety, more positive thinking, and I gave time to whatever feelings I had going on, and I dealt with it. People say like, "Oh, why are you always smiling? Oh, why you seem like you're in a good mood?" Because I just take some time to go deal with the things that I don't smile about or do hurt my feelings or things like that. So people say like, "Yo, you always seem like in a good mood." Go feel your feel, self-awareness, self-check-ins, and then move forward. You're not going to be who you're going to be in one day.
I love it.
Time.
I love it. Steven.
I agree with them. I say feel your feel, like emotions are okay, especially to any of our young people. Just always know that your voice and your emotions are okay. And as far as self-awareness, just be honest with yourself. Be okay with where you're at with it and give yourself the steps to grow. Don't make things too big on yourself. That way you don't give yourself anxiety. Give yourself steps that you know you can accomplish so you can build that confidence so that as you go out there in the world and these things come at you in life, it's just another thing to accomplish. It's just another thing to learn. It's nothing. So the anxiety isn't so high and you don't put so much society pressure on yourself.
That's perfect. Camille.
Leave you guys with this quote by.
You guys say the whole thing again.
Yeah.
Run it
What happens
back.
if you
Rewind.
take your things out?
Hold on.
Oh, that's better.
Oh yeah,
Hold
that
on.
was loud.
Let me take it out.
There you go. Girl, you should have had them things out the whole time.
I thought y'all could be able to hear me better. So I'm just gonna leave y'all with this. There's a quote by an author. His name is David Goggins. And it says the most important conversations that you'll ever have are the ones that you have with yourself. And that's just a true testament to self-confidence. You gotta believe in yourself. You have to talk yourself up so you can go into these rooms where, like we talked about, the confidence is on like this kind of sliding scale. You're always at that 10. And the only thing that changes is the situation. The confidence is what's in you, and the challenge is what's on you, right? So you move through it, and that's all you got to do. So the most important conversations you can have are the ones that you have with yourself. Always be positive, always maintain a good attitude, and move through life that way, and we gonna all get through it.
I love you guys are the best. First of all, you guys are the best. What I'm gonna say is, if you guys know someone, if you're interested in joining our Quality Queens initiative or our Whole Warriors Collaborative, that's our women's and our men's empowerment, mental health, and e-mentorship programs, completely free. Click the link in our bio, follow us, send us to your friends and your family members who you think would benefit from having an assigned mentor that can help us navigate this thing we call life, because none of us have all the answers. And so it's really important. I did have a couple of book recommendations for this week. I did have, and some podcasts. So for the books, No One Is Coming to Save Us by Stephanie Powell Watts. And I'm going to tag all of these things, don't worry. The Power of Awareness by Neville Goddard. Podcast, we have our very own The Black Men's Experience with Rockett. He is the host of that podcast.
He hitting his Omarion. Look.
He sure did. He sure did. And then we have
Oh, you froze.
We have for the ladies, Her Space by Dr. Dominique Broussard and Terry Lomax. Black Girl Podcast by Scotty Beam, Gia Peppers, Safira Bex, don't slay me, and Alicia P. And then for the gentlemen in the room, we have The Minority Trailblazer by Greg Hill and The Everyday Black Men. So we will definitely link all of those. We'll tag all of those so you have that information. But every Monday, next Monday, we're back at it with life skills with 3 more mentors. But definitely follow us, share us, like us, subscribe to us on YouTube. We're over there too. And welcome to My Legacy House, where everything starts at home. And we'll see you guys next week.
All right, take care.
Bye.